they could do it on a different day, but not on Juneteenth. And I think our event was scheduled for June 19th. I spoke with Kristen about that, and looking at the calendar, it's so tight and extremely difficult to change from the 19th. So maybe this year we will be unable to partner with them, but for the next year we can kind of do that ahead of time, so we have a fixed date for the event. And then we'll also have to submit something to the town manager about the Juneteenth, because it's going to be similar to the Pride event.
I think, do you mind if I say something?
Yeah, sure.
I think, you know, with Eileen transitioning off of this committee in the near future, I think the subcommittee probably needs to reconvene. We need someone, you know, Eileen has always kind of stepped in to be a leader for the subcommittees. I think we need someone for that subcommittee to step in and take that role. Mary Beth Very with the Danvers Cultural Council had reached out a while back. We talked about in these meetings to offer financial support for whatever the event we wanted to do. But we haven't told her yet what we want to do with that, and they need details. Otherwise, that money is going to be given to the Danvers Hue event that's being hosted on June 4th. So I think the subcommittee needs to probably meet and figure out, you know, I would think we would want that financial support, so how are we going to use it? So I don't know offhand who the subcommittee members are, but I kind of stepped in just to, you know, let Mary Beth know we were having this meeting, we're talking about it, we'll follow up with her. I'm not in a position to lead that subcommittee, so we would need someone on the committee to do it.
I can tell you in 1 second. Let me just find the names.
Okay.
Sure. And while she's looking for the subcommittee members, I think last year we also had a Danvers Juneteenth proclamation that we submitted to the select board, but we had tailored it to last year only. So I think we had discussion as to should we just have it as something that's there, or should we go back every year? And this committee said we wanted to go back every year. And I know Christine was asking, we may want to speak with the Honorable David Mills and see if the select board can actually just take it, so we don't have to keep going back to them, and they can actually do it on their own, since it's going to be the same wording for the most part anyway. So that's also something the subcommittee is going to be working on.
So the subcommittee for Juneteenth is Dee, Bob, Donna, Deb, and Dr. Charlie.
Okay, I will lead the subcommittee, and I'll reach out so we can connect and decide on the event.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So that was it for Juneteenth and the Pride. The next item on the agenda is the establishment of the scholarship subcommittee. And I told Kristen that I was going to recuse myself from any scholarship discussion. I did it a few years ago when my son was graduating, and I'll do the same now because I believe my daughter might be an applicant. So Kristen is going to lead that for the committee.
Sure. So if everyone remembers last year, we kind of updated our process for the scholarship subcommittee and revised the criteria. So I'm just going to remind everyone what that will look like, and then we can kind of talk about the next steps. So I'll read the criteria now. The Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is a cohesive task force against anti-Semitism, homophobia, intolerance, racism, sexism, and bigotry. We partner with police, school administration, and several community partners on events to create a positive atmosphere for a multicultural community. We stand against hatred and support those who experience marginalization due to their age, gender, race, ethnicity, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status. Each year, the HRIC awards up to $2,000 in scholarship funds to seniors pursuing continuing education of any kind who best exemplify the committee values and not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. The HRIC will not consider the following factors in their award of scholarships: the student's GPA, grades, or honor/AP status, the student's participation in athletics or extracurricular activities unrelated to the mission of the HRIC, the student's household income or occupations of parents or guardians, the student's intended institution of continued learning, the student's race, color, national origin, age, religion, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. So the application process is to submit an essay no longer than 2 pages outlining how you embody the values of the HRIC's mission statement in your extracurricular activities, relationships with family and friends, and as a member of the Danvers community. Consider what you've done within the community. Maybe you gathered friends to attend an annual Pride celebration or volunteered at the People to People food pantry, and what you've done outside of Danvers, like serving on a mission trip abroad or organizing a charitable cause. Most importantly, tell us how you plan to continue this work through your continuing education and into adulthood. At least 2 letters of recommendation are required that can attest to your community work. However, they do not need to be from teachers. Letters of recommendation should be written by those who know your contributions best, whether that be a group advisor, mentor, pastor, or supervisor. So this is the criteria that was provided. We also updated the process where all candidates will be anonymized. Is that how I say it? So their identifying information will be removed. I have an example. This was also shared, what was it, maybe last June, July? Last
Sometime
year.
last summer.
Yeah.
Actually, no, April.
April.
April of
Okay.
last year we
So
did
this
this,
was shared last year, but you can have a look, everyone. But it basically just outlines what's important to us. It doesn't really matter if anyone remembers from years past. It's the standard kind of seniors complete this, and it's all this information about how much their family makes and who they are and all these things that we didn't really feel like it actually spoke to our mission. So we really wanted to narrow it down. So what will happen is we received the scholarship applications. They were sent to Eileen. Eileen will then create this anonymized version using the information in the applications. The anonymized versions will be provided to the subcommittee members to review, and then we will meet, like we've done in years past, to decide whether we would like to give the full $2,000 to one candidate or split it up between a number of candidates.
Or not give it at all.
Or not give it at all. That's right. If people, haven't met our expectations. The scholarship recipients need to be decided by May 17th. And we can have 5 committee members serve on this subcommittee. So I would love to be one of the 5. I don't know if anyone else. Donna? Okay. Anyone else? Bob. Okay. One more? Anyone? We can have 4. Okay. If anyone changes their mind, they can let me know. And I'll set up a meeting in the next week or so that we can get this started.
Give the names for the minutes.
Yes, the names of the subcommittee members. Myself, Donna, Bill, and Bob.
It's the same group as last year, actually, minus Amanda.
We can check with her. Maybe she's the 5th that she'll want to do it.
Yeah, we'll ask.
Okay. Any questions?
Perfect. Thank you very much. We got through that agenda. So I see we omitted that, but I'll put it under new business and have, I don't know if Eric had any school liaison updates.
Microphone's about to fall apart, but I hope you can hear me. So first of all, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And news from the school committee front this month. Many of you know that Dr. Lisa Dana indicated that she is going to retire as of August 31st. She'll remain on medical leave until that date. Dr. Dana served this community for 14 years as superintendent, and I believe 10 or 12 years as teacher and assistant superintendent. She served this community well, and her primary dedication when I think of Dr. Dana's work was that she was really student-oriented, and the town will in fact miss her as its superintendent. So we wish Dr. Dana well. I hope she has a happy retirement. We are also looking for, I'm sorry, let me back up. So we'll be entering a superintendent search, and Alice Campbell and Robin Doherty of the school committee have appointed them as the school committee search. They're both going into their second year. I think they'll bring new voices to the search, and I know they'll do a great job, so I know they're looking forward to that. They're very excited about that. We're also interviewing currently for a human resources person and a business manager, which really is because Keith Taverna, who is also leaving us, wore so many hats in this town. He's done a great job for us, and it's unfortunate that the perfect job opened up for him elsewhere, but we'll miss Keith. So we're going to replace that position with a new HR manager and a new business manager who will work closely with the town on those matters. So lots happening, but all of it, I think, is moving in a positive direction. From the standpoint of what this committee is probably most interested in is that we, on April 12th, had a series of culturally responsive read-alouds in the school system. And they dealt with, at the higher grade levels, transgender issues, that sort of thing. At the lower grade levels, the readings were more benign. I'm talking about like K through 3. They were more involving with, I think one book might have been The Boy Who Wore a Tutu. There are other books about just students who kind of march to the beat of their own drum, so to speak. And the idea was hopefully to plant the idea with children to be accepting of people who are different. That was the whole purpose of it. In the weeks leading up to it, we had informed parents that this was going to happen, and it's funny that we, like anything, we had a small number of parents who really were upset about it and indicated to us that they represented a much larger group of parents. The primary issues they raised were that students who were that young didn't need to hear about this kind of information. And of course, the fact is, educationally, what we hear is just the opposite, that students are never too young to start hearing about semi-complex topics as long as they're presented in a way that is appropriate for them. And clearly, from what I read, there's no question in my mind this was done appropriately. The other issue we had with the parents felt that we were essentially getting in the way of their rights to have these kinds of conversations with their children when they felt it was correct. So those were two, and most people who objected almost to a person claimed they didn't have a problem with someone being transgender or someone being gay. Some people, I think, confuse the notion of gender and sexuality, which it's really not. They're two separate things. But in any event, once in a while, when you got below the surface, someone talked about, well, you're indoctrinating our students. There was a reference to men being sort of upset that we were getting in the way of their presenting their feelings of masculinity to their sons. A few people told us that they were thinking of pulling their children out of the school system because we did this, which is sort of sad. And at the same time, there was a pretty vibrant online discussion where there were parents and students, former students, who posted, who said it's about time you're doing something like this, and that maybe if this had been done years earlier, their experience in school might have been better and different for them. And so, it was heartening to see the positive responses to what we're trying to do, because all we are trying to do is to build a community where people are accepted for who they are. So we went forward with it, and I think, as many people will say, that no roofs fell in, the building's still open, the kids are still going to school. We haven't had too much negative feedback. But I think it is a message in terms of the different perspectives that people have in town and the work that still has to be done on acceptance in the community, not just in the schools, but all around us. But that's an example of one of the things this year that we're trying to do. So beyond that, I've talked about Lisa's retirement. I really guess that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Eric. And I thought you would talk about it, but I attended the last two school committee meetings, and I was just blown away with the students' presentations. I think the last one was Highlands, and I said, I wish my kids had that when they were going to Highlands.
Yeah.
So I will say, I mean, this is obviously just one snapshot at a specific period of time, but I was very impressed with the level of confidence that the students spoke with.
They really were remarkable, weren't they?
They were amazing, and they seemed to, it was genuine. Sometimes, I mean, I can't get in anybody's heart, but just from my observation, these kids wanted to be there. They enjoyed the topics, and they were just speaking like adults.
Yeah.
With a good level of confidence. So that was very good to see. And I'll also say that we've had a lot of turmoil with our students and the issues of the past 2 years. And the high school senior who spoke at the last committee meeting wanted to make it clear that whatever happened 2 or 3 years ago should not be something that they'll carry on their back for the rest of their life.
Yeah, this is the young lady who worked on the film.
That's correct.
Video that we're using to hopefully, get out into the community and particularly to the middle schoolers who are looking forward to coming to the high school, that there is a lot going on there that they can and will be able to take pride in.
That's right.
Yeah.
And as a parent who also have students within the school, I second that. I'm worried that this would taint their future in some ways. So I urge all of us to continue to really, not that we ignore anything, we have to address them as they occur, prevent them from happening in the future, but also give credit where we see something good happening.
Yeah.
I think that what the students at the high school are doing now to change the culture is really commendable. And I'm sure I can speak for this committee that we're pleased with that. We are, again, like I said earlier, we'll make mistakes, but I think that the students are really taking on the task of changing the culture, and it will take time.
Yeah.
As Shea Boulay once said, it will go at the speed of trust.
Yep.
We can't say it's going to happen next year. It's going to take time, and we just want to continue to create these safe spaces. Well, I said safe spaces, but I think Jasmine told me it's actually brave spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to create these safe and brave spaces more and more for people to really be themselves and speak out when they see something that's wrong.
I mean, I've done this a long time, and there are now and have always been many more students at the high school and in the schools generally who do things that they can be proud of and that we can and should be proud of as a community than there are students who act otherwise. And that doesn't mean you ignore students who aren't contributing to the positive culture, and we need to continue to work on that. But there are a lot of good students who really work hard and care about their school, about their town, and there are going to be some students who do some great things in the future for the world. So that always keeps me coming back.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Lieutenant Rob, we spoke so much about a lot of things today. Do you have any?
I think it's fair to say the police have monopolized the agenda for the evening. Everyone's heard quite enough about us for 1 month.
Thank you, thank you. Any other new business? Here, none? Oh, sorry, I feel like I wasn't able to speak, and I'm speaking the whole time. I'm not sure what the appropriate thing to do is, but I just want to remind us, not only on this committee, that we are bound by some ethics rules, either in person or online. we should be held to a higher standard. I hold myself to a higher standard, and I expect every member of the committee to do the same. There was a resident who, I'm not sure, I don't have any details, who expressed some concerns about something that was said from a member of our committee. I have no other detail than that. She walked out right after. But regardless, and we probably will get more information, but I just want to remind all of us that we should really preach by example and just be bound by those ethics rules. It could get pretty rough online. That's why I usually stay away from it. And I urge people in this town, like Maureen Bernard would say, let's be kind. I don't want to use the word kind, but let's be open-minded and kind of not have that tunnel vision and understand that people can have different views and just be very respectful. So, just that.
Just to be fully transparent, that comment was about me. And I had sent an email in my capacity as a private citizen and a political and labor organizer from my union email address to another union leader asking, and I'll be happy to show you the email so you can see exactly what was said, asking a question. And someone sent that email to the person who spoke at public comment. And then I received a message from that person today and interacted back and forth. I did not refuse to meet with that person. My calendar simply will not allow me to meet before the election. Anyone who knows me knows that my calendar is one of the most horrifying things on the face of the planet. And so I just wanted to clear that up, that I am very respectful of ethics laws and all of that because it's also part of my job outside of here. So I just wanted to be fully transparent that that comment was about me and that I was inquiring to do some research about who I should vote for and also acting in my role, in my job, in my private life.
Thank you for the clarifications. Any other new business? Hearing none, I would need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Any second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. Good night, Danvers.